better and had tightened into a ball of pain in her chest. Her hands shook, and for a few seconds, she thought she might faint.
Promise me that you'll let me do as much as I'm able and not mollycoddle me in the time I've got left.
Matt squeezed her hands.
I want to go out with my boots on, not in a hospital gown with no dignity. Promise me that much. Let me do what I can on my own terms as long as I can.
I'll do whatever you want, Daddy, she said, tears streaming down her face. But her voice caught, and the heaviness in her chest felt as if rocks had been piled up on her heart. He stood up, rounded the end of the table, and gathered her into his arms. His warm tears mingled with hers.
I hate this for you, sugar. On one hand, I want to go be with your mother. On the other, I can't bear to leave you.
Daddy, isn't there anything? She dried her eyes and straightened her back to try to get her composure. Her father needed her to be strong, but she couldn't do it. She sobbed until the front of his shirt was wet and she had the hiccups.
Honey, think of it this way,
Matt said as he took a step back from her.
If I'd had a heart attack or a stroke and dropped out in the barn, you would have had no forewarning. The way it is, we've got 6 weeks. The doctor says that last couple of weeks, I'll sleep a lot more. And then, one time when I take a nap, I'll take that final step from Earth to eternity.
He went to the bar and started making sandwiches.
We're going to live each day to its fullest. Now, let's have some dinner, and then get back out there in the hayfield. I'll drive the truck, and the kids who've got hired for summer help can throw the bales.
He didn't have to say the words. She had heard them often enough that they echoed through her heart and her mind.
If I can live long enough to know that Alana is settled down with a good man, I'll be happy to go on to heaven with my sweet Joy.
The fact that he'd said those words so often the past year made her wonder if somehow in his subconscious he'd known that his time was limited, and he'd soon be in eternity with his beloved wife.
I've had a good life, and my only regret is that I can't walk you down the aisle at your wedding. I'd like to leave this world knowing that you've got a partner in your life, like I had with your mama. You're a strong woman, Alana, but I'd rest easier knowing that someone was beside you to share in your joys and have your sorrows.
What he said wasn't anything new. The same thing had come up often in the past, more so this last year. She'd figured it was because she was getting closer to 30 years old. Alana couldn't snap her fingers and give him more than 6 weeks to live. She couldn't wish the tumor away or even make it less serious so the doctors could remove it. She sure couldn't pull a boyfriend out of her cowboy hat and plan a wedding so he could walk her down the aisle. Or could she? The only trouble with the plan that popped into her head was that it would involve a huge lie. Still, it would make her father rest easy, and he'd never have to know she hadn't told him the truth. No, she told herself. I need to spend every waking minute with my daddy, and Daddy would be so disappointed in me if he found out. The little devil in her head kept showing her smiling, happy pictures of her father's face as he walked her down the aisle and left her in the care of a loving man. I don't need a man to care for me, she argued. No, but think how happy it will make your dad, the pesky voice whispered. There was only one man who might be willing to say yes to such a wild plan. Paxton Callahan. Her father liked him as a man and a cowboy, but Pax had a wild reputation. Scenarios played through her head, one after another until she couldn't think about anything else. She dried her tears, took a deep breath, and pushed back her chair. She got out a jar of pickles from the refrigerator and set out a banana cream pie she'd made the day before. She draped her arm around her father's shoulder.